my third attempt at figuring out the direction of exactly what it is that I'm doing. I've known now for a while that I've been wanting to sort of break free of this financial system that we've set up in the world where we're relying on other people to make our living. As a traveling filmmaker and an artist, I am getting pretty fed up with the way that the world is run. The whole reason that I'm doing this is because I've lived a very long and interesting life. I've been lucky enough to travel the world and meet all sorts of interesting people and do interesting things. My main job that I do for a living is a DP/camera operator. I work in documentary filmmaking mainly. Shot music videos, some commercial work, a mix of everything. Outside of that, I also really love music. I'm pretty obsessed. I'm not very good at playing any instruments at this current time, but I think I have a pretty good ear for it, and I feel like music is the soundtrack to our lives. We may be living in some sort of holographic light matrix, but that means that this is our own song, this is our own movie, this is our own book, this is our own whatever we want it to be. Once that realization really hit home for me, I realized like, oh, I've been wasting a lot of time chasing after all the things we chase after. For me, it's usually, girls and drugs. Over the last few years, I have become quite a psychonaut. I've been involved in the psychedelic world since I was a teenager. I've been involved in the psychonaut world for quite some time, since I was a teenager really, but it wasn't until the last few years that I started to work with a shaman and went deeper and deeper, trying to find myself and my purpose and why I'm here, that this all finally clicked and I realized why I'm doing this and what it's all for. I do feel like we can create our reality through our thoughts, and the fact that I'm sitting here in Berlin, Germany, somewhere I wanted to live since I saw it in a music video for Atari Teenage Riot when I was 20 years old, is all the proof that I need. I have a thought and I created it. And it takes hard work, it takes dedication. Sometimes you will stumble, sometimes you will fall, sometimes you will not get what you want, but you always seem to get what you need. As long as that need or want is rooted in a place of love and kindness, I do believe that we can really create all sorts of wild dreams. I mean, clearly there are people that have pretty dark dreams, and those people seem to be the ones that are in power of all of this. But we're not gonna worry about them right now, because right now everyone's very scared. What is the state of the world? What are we going through? Are we gonna be okay? The world will keep spinning, and we will be okay. We might see some really crazy changes in our life. The possible evolution and merging of man and machine. I mean, we're literally seeing it already now, but how deep that goes, we're about to find out. I'm in support of this. I do think it is our natural human evolution to leave this planet and see the stars. I'm an explorer. These are things that interest me. Maybe some people are fine with just staying here. I eventually am hoping that in this life, or maybe if my consciousness can be brought into some biomechanical alien machine, I can travel and remember all of these things that I've learned, and maybe remember past lives, and then keep going into the future. I do not have a nostalgia for the past at all. I don't want to, I wish I was born in the 1950s. No, not me. I want to see what happens in 100 years. I'm fascinated by human ingenuity, human intellect, and none of this came easy. I have a very rough background that I will make videos and talk about further. For now, this is just a little short explanation that's probably not so short already. I talk a lot. For the video that I recorded, I had some experiences happen to me recently that have fundamentally cracked the core of my being and made me look at things very differently. I realize that time is running, and that if I want the life of my dreams, which I'm already living, but if I really want to evolve and go to the next level of what I want and what I want to see for the world, it starts internally, it starts with me, and I have to get to work. So, what is this podcast going to be? I think I'll try to do one episode per week. I guess that's what they say is good. I don't know how I can always do that. I also don't want to be beholden to like the YouTube algorithm and shadow banning and demonetization if you talk about subjects they find harmful. These talks will mainly be about consciousness, psychedelic, travel, and I don't want to be flagged or banned or whatever, and I'm hoping that all this does is lead me to an ethical sponsor that can pay me to do what I'm trying to do. And what I am trying to do is tell my stories that I have from traveling all over the world, internally and externally, and then also interview my friends. I have the most fascinating friends. I live between a small desert art community in California and Berlin, Germany. I meet fascinating people from every single walk of life. Same goes for my documentary work. I am constantly involved in the most bizarre things that I really can't believe. And so as much as this is my story, this is your story, this is our story. And I want to have on friends from all walks of life. Everything that I know and everything that I don't know. I want to manifest musicians that I love in my life. I want to interview King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard. But like, Stu, if you're out there, you've inspired me. thank you. I get the message that you guys are sending, and one of the best live shows I've ever seen. I just got back from this crazy trip where we launched cars off a cliff in Alaska for the 4th of July. It was a 2-week trek. Well, we drove 4 days, 12 hours a day, and it was a disaster. My Instagram stories, everybody was like, oh, you're living such an insane life. And I'm like, you don't know how fucked up this travel has all been. Everything was a mess. But at the end of the day, we had the most transcendent experience. 22 people getting in cars, 6 of them, 2 support, 4 cars going off the cliff. Cars that were all destined for the junkyard. We fixed up just enough to drive them there, launch them off the cliff, shoot our documentary, and leave. And that trip was a nightmare, and it took me 29 hours to get home. However, it changed my life for the better, and I'm so grateful to have it. And then the other one is the psychedelic aspect. I've had all sorts of trips on all sorts of substances, and I will go into those in future episodes. I am the world's largest proponent of DMT. That's a whole other video we'll talk about. I've learned so much from my therapeutic space in there. I think all drugs have a part to play. There's smart drugs, there's stupid drugs. There's drugs that'll fucking kill you, and there's drugs that will kill old parts of you and raise your consciousness. And what's happened to me and what's been happening to me in recent times has been a raising of that consciousness. And I learned information in these altered states that made me become obsessive to understand what frequency, vibration, light, sound all do with the fabric of existence. Led me down the road of quantum mechanics. So Donald Hoffman, I want to talk to you. Brian Cox, dream. I want to talk to the smartest scientists, the dumbest trippers that I know, the musicians, the artists. I've traveled all over the world. I've seen all sorts of suffering. The one thing that holds true is everybody just wants to love, be loved, and be happy. Sit down and have a meal with them. You take a trip, and you realize we're all the same. There is no other. It is all one consciousness experiencing itself subjectively through each one of us. This is all a dream. We share this illusion with each other. Maybe I'm wrong about all this. I've done that much DMT. But maybe I'm right. Or maybe the truth is somewhere in the middle. Whatever the case is, the truth is still out there. And I believe, even after the worst psychedelic experience of my life, a little over a week ago, there are no bad trips, because I've learned so much, and it has elevated my consciousness to change behaviors in myself that I knew needed to change or I would be dead. And I think I might have died. And that's a whole other discussion about transurfing reality, shifting timelines. Every choice we make or don't make breaks off into a new timeline of endless possibilities, just like the double slit experiment. Until something is observed, it's just a wave of possibilities. Whew, chill. So I think I'm on the right track. All I want to do is be able to spread my story, spread the story of the people I know, ideally sponsored and able to quit being beholden to the companies I have to work for that I'm not stoked to work for, to not make my own schedule. I want to be completely in charge of my life and the money situation and everything, so that I can just, I don't want to be rich. I mean, hey, yeah, I'll take it. But the whole point of, if I can even get that, if I can get to that point, is I want to spread a message of positivity, make art, travel the world and meet people, and then give back. These billionaires could only give a fraction of what they have and still be billionaires and solve all the world's problems. I don't think I'm here to solve all the world's problems. I'm here to solve mine. And maybe by me solving mine and sharing it with you, I can help. That's what we have to do. We have to turn the light on in ourselves so we can turn it on in others. So, a lot of talking later, an overly extended intro. The show is There Are No Bad Trips. The first episode that I recorded, I didn't know what I was doing. The information was beamed into my head. I had to talk. I had to get it out. I just threw up 2 cameras and didn't even light it properly. I didn't even light this, just because I need to get this out. I'm very busy. I'm going to try to commit to a long form, at least solo or interview once a week. It'll be hard. I'm about to go on the road right now. I'm trying to commit to shorts once a day, play the stupid YouTube game. This is why I don't want to play the stupid YouTube game. I just want to eventually find sponsors. I made a website, therearenobadtrips.com. A little bit of my video work is on there. There is merch coming very soon. A dear, dear friend, she taught me how to use Procreate on an iPad, and I realized I don't need anyone else's help to do anything. So I ordered an iPad. It's going to take 2 weeks. Once I do that, I'm going to start drawing all the logos I have in my head perfectly so I can start to put them in a store. I'm going to do drop shipping for stickers and t-shirts, hoodies, whatever, hats, whatever people want, with logos that I've designed. And There Are No Bad Trips is the theme. This is my brand going forward. Yeah, eventually I would love to see this take off. I would love to see it bring in enough money so that I can live the way I want. It's not that luxurious, but I do love traveling. I do love seeing places. I stay in moderately priced hotels. I reduce my carbon footprint as much as I can, and I explore the local things as opposed to all the tourist traps and destinations. Because when you wander down that weird alley in Bangkok for the better food, you find all sorts of things and all sorts of people, and it's always made me better. Even the bad trips, I learned so much from them. So this is what you can expect to see from this channel. It's going to take a while to build, I think, but these are my goals. If you put your goals out into the universe and you tell the universe, this is what I want, and you do it from a place of love, and you do the hard work, and you stay dedicated, I guarantee the universe will give you these things. It's wild, but it has to come from a place of love. And I realize a lot of ways which I haven't been loving in the past, and I'm currently working in every aspect I can to fix my karmic debt. And that's because of the experiences that I've had through my travels, internally and externally. Thank you for listening. Now I'll show you the podcast that I was unsure of which direction it was. It took me 3 times to figure out the name. I was shocked the website was available, the YouTube handle was available. I was looking off camera, more interview style, which I think this is a little more personal. I think I'll do it like this. Thank you very much. Please like, subscribe, whatever. Tell me what I gotta do. I don't even know what I have to do to try to make money on here. I'm pretty sure because I'm talking about DMT, I'm instantly not gonna make money. But hey, maybe I can. Like I said, sponsorship and whatever, let's do it. I wanna have 3 cameras to do interviews. I've got 2, need 1 more. Another tripod to do interviews with other people. Currently, I think I'll just stick to single camera for myself. Thank you again. Thanks for watching. And remember, there are no bad trips.
We're sorry. You have reached a number that has been disconnected or is no longer in service. If you feel you have reached this recording in error, please check the number and try your call again.
My name is Damon. I will be your guide and host for whatever this is. This is my first time doing anything like this. I'm a person that probably has a lot to say. I talk too much. And this seems like a perfect place to explore ideas and share info that I've received, I find interesting. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a scientist. I didn't finish high school. I don't even have a GED. I've managed to luck my way and not so luck my way into a variety of jobs and sources of income that have made me get to where I'm at today. I currently work as a camera operator and DP, living part-time in a small desert art community in California in the winter. For the rest of the year, I'm based in Berlin, Germany. It's not been an easy life. It's a life of my dreams, but it's very hard and isolating and cumbersome to be traveling back and forth. But it's kind of in my blood to wander, so I'm wandering. When I'm out in the desert, I have peace, I have silence. I'm surrounded by creative people who inspire me and keep me driven to make art and travel and have new ideas and new opinions and about life. The other half is in Berlin, where I kind of let my hair down and maybe party a little bit, and not that much. I'm old, so not as much as I used to, but I do like to have a good time, and this is a great city for having a good time. I also am much more in line with the ideals of European society as opposed to American society. Look, there's problems everywhere you go. Germany's got its fair share right now. The whole EU has actually leaned a little bit towards the right. In Germany, we are seeing the rise of the AfD and these sort of boneheaded theories that really seem to kick off more once the whole Trump era started. So, this is not a show that I want to talk about politics even too much, because I don't have the answers. I'm not a politician either. If we could just let these two people exist with each other peacefully, if they could understand that there is only one message, and that message is love. And I'm sorry to sound like a fucking hippie, but here I am. It's universal. And if we can just love and look past the petty differences that we have, there's an abundance of things that everyone can have. There's no reason for poverty. There's no reason for hunger. There's no reason for crime. There's no reason for any of these horrible things. At least that's my optimistic opinion. But it's also very nihilistic as well. I've not had an easy life. I was raised not even by my parents, in a very abusive home. At least the woman, my aunt who raised me. My real parents, I didn't know. I didn't know until just a few years ago, after my aunt who raised me passed away from cancer, that I have 7 half-brothers and half-sisters from a father I never knew. My real father was a biker and a mechanic, master mechanic, a pilot, trucker. Nobody ever knew him, and he just seemed to wander throughout the United States, having a good time and fucking ladies and getting them pregnant and running away from the babies. And I was the last of those babies. I was number 8. It was kind of a mind-boggling experience to find out through. And this is the worst ad for Ancestry.com that's ever existed. Like, careful what you wish for. I had an ex. It was like, hey, you should check your blood, see like where you're from. And yeah, I'm very Eastern European and German even, and I get to be all these weird things and not know my father, who was not a great guy. He obviously had some redeeming qualities because he could charm women and do the things that he did, but he was an alcoholic and a drug addict. The booze is probably what killed him. He was murdered outside of a small bar in Montana. I found newspaper articles explaining it. I'd like to try to track down this weird roadside bar. I think it was Rock Creek, Colorado. A little roadside tavern that had some stuff behind it, some lodging, and I think he was staying there, and yeah, he was murdered, and then the police didn't investigate. I'm thinking at some point maybe I will sit down and make a mini documentary about my father and finding out this information. It became very painful to find out all of these things, knowing that other people knew who I was and that I existed, but nobody really wanted anything to do with me. My dad was 42, my mom was 22, and it was just crazy biker shit and hot, young, old lady. Drugs and prostitution and all sorts of nefarious deeds. It makes sense that they wouldn't want a lot to do with me, since I was the last one in a line of bad decisions that my father made. However, I did meet one of my brothers. He came out and visited me in the desert. We rode motorcycles, and it was really great. It's really great. So careful what you wish for, Ancestry.com. Yeah, that explains a little bit of my story. I've gone through an immense amount of trauma in my life. Some of it my own doing. Been sober from alcohol for 7 years now. First it was fun, then it was fun with problems, and then it was just problems, as they say. I'd been in the program my whole life as a child. I used to come and help my parents pass out literature, and it was destined that I was going to get saved, basically, to have that right window of opportunity where I burned out on my life and things were so bad that there was only, one light left on. And that was the program, and thank God I found it, because it saved my life. It got me away from alcohol, which for me was the poison and the toxin that was destroying my life, and I was blacking out every single time. Didn't know what I was doing. Sometimes it wasn't so nice. And I choose a life now of nonviolence. I don't want to fight anyone. I don't want to hurt anyone. We just have to not judge people for, their behavior, even when it's harmful. We have to just sit back. Again, these are all just my opinions. We don't have to do anything. This is what I'm choosing to do. Even if somebody wants to yell in my face, I don't want to be reactive in a negative way. I don't want to spread more bad energy, more bad vibrations into the universe. Because that's just going to feed a never-ending cycle. Even, I'm fairly left, and I look at Trump supporters now, and they believe some goofy shit. They really do, and I can't subscribe to it. And I think he's an awful, horrible, narcissistic man run by demons. He's a person that's chasing the wrong things, and the people that worship him, they don't even realize that he's not acting in their best interests whatsoever. But it's, it's a cult of personality, and he's shaking up the system, and Joe Biden's a fucking old robot, so American politics are fucked. Let's hope the AGI politicians in a few years will be much smarter and kinder. I think that is one of my fears that I think about a lot. One of the things that keeps me up at night. It used to be the complexities of the universe, and are we living in some sort of fractal holographic light matrix, like a lot of scientists are starting to think, on the third dimension of 11. These are things that still fuck me up, and I think too much about, and I get a little paranoid, and I see symbolism and code and things, and yeah, I start to feel like I'm crazy. But I think we're all having that dream. We're all waking up to it, that this is there are infinite possibilities of how this can all play out, and by some sort of physics, that keeps this whole thing together. But also there are things in physics that we have not figured out, that we cannot understand. They're doing the Lord's work at CERN trying to understand, what happened before the Big Bang and why it's happening, and which to me seems like, there's this Roger Penrose graph where it shows the universe from the Big Bang, this little point, and then it kind of balloons out and, going at light speed towards what? We don't know. And it seems to me like this is just, again, an opinion, an idea. It might not be true at all, but it's a nice visual representation for me. The way this chart in the straight line doesn't make sense because everything seems to be spiral in nature. And so I think, the chart is right, but I almost look at it like, pop. It's like a balloon popping, and the universe forms, and it starts expanding outwards, and it does all this magic within it with chemical reactions that create everything. And then I feel like it's expanding to the point where it's just going to pop like a balloon in a flash of light where everything will collapse into nothing and then pop and go out. And this is probably infinite in layers, and we could be, the veins in an eye of a greater creature in another dimension that can see through things like time. If we do have multiple dimensions, let's say even fifth dimensional things, time is something you could scroll across and look at completely differently. Our little brains can't quite comprehend it, but I think we're getting there. But again, I'm not an astrophysicist or a scientist or anybody that's knowledged that much on any of these things. I'm reading some books. I don't consider myself a learned man. I read books and I try to understand them. I watch a lot of YouTube videos. Like everybody else, we're all a bunch of people watching YouTube videos, gleaning information, thinking, we're so smart, but we're not scientists. But it doesn't mean we're not right about some of the things we come up with. One of the books I'm currently reading, I'm about halfway through, is The God Equation, The Quest for a Theory of Everything, Michio Kaku. I highly recommend this book. It's kind of fucking up my brain. But, you can't really argue with a lot of, the best minds and physicists. It's quite fascinating, and it hurts my brain. But it's also beautiful because we can see how complex this is, and that, even with all the great scientists that we've had at the turn of the century that discovered all of these things, like there's now, it seems to be some sort of new revolution where science is going, we're not going to break certain rules, but they're going to be bent. We're going to find out things that we couldn't have fathomed. To a person 200 years ago, an iPhone is a magical device. It's insane. We're receiving messages from the heavens. And so for us in 200 years, what are things going to be like? What's possible? What are they discovering at CERN? I would love to take a trip this fall and go to Switzerland and take a tour, because I just want to see how the sausage is made. It's pretty beautiful when you think about what they're doing for humanity. And these are the things that excite me. I'm not a nostalgic person in the fact of, like, what would you do with a time machine? I'd go back to the 1950s because things were so great. People love, I was born in the wrong era. I should have been in the 1950s. And like, what, we had, racism and the lack of women's rights and religious freedoms and xenophobia and homophobia being at horrible highs. Sounds not great. I'm a person that if I could jump in my time machine, I'd want to go forward in human existence to see what we get right, to see what we get wrong, to see how we evolve. The next phase in human evolution seems to be cyborg. It seems to be AI, ASI, AGI, and us combining into them to try to prolong our lives, to explore more, to enlighten more, to understand more. Interstellar travel, I think, is going to be very necessary. They say we're close to a warp drive, which we can bend space and time. Wow, imagine what we could do. What could seem like thousands of years here on Earth of time passage, to someone that could bend space and time, do something, go for a cup of coffee and come back. They'd be like, we just left. What are you talking about? Because time works differently for all of us. With distance. Again, a lot of crackpot ideas and theories. I'm just an amalgamation of everything I've ever kind of read or watched or heard, which makes me unique and specific, but I don't think any of my ideas are. They all come from books and movies and film. I said that twice. YouTube video. Music is, I think, a universal channel for everything. Frequency, vibration, the great Om. This is a song and a dance. I think, Alan Watts talks about this. The universe seems to be played at a frequency and like a song. There's smarter people that can say this all better than I can, but this is my summation of it. I think for a long time I just didn't want to dance. I was scared, and I'm not scared anymore. I'm definitely scared of things, but not of what the universe is or is not. It's a song, and I think we're kind of proving that when we look at frequency and how we play it through water and cymatics and how it creates the most intense sacred geometry and the way it moves and dances, you know. And I think I even saw something, you know, again, fact-checked anything I say. I don't care. If I'm wrong, I'll admit it. But I believe I saw something that shows through cymatics that they've done a frequency where they've actually created with water and frequency like actual matter, little kind of microbic creature type things that are living. You know, I just think there is a code to all of this, and it's very complex, and it's going to take a lot of the smartest minds in the world to figure it out. But they will, and maybe in our lifetimes, who knows? And even then, it's still going to keep going. I don't think we're going to really solve it all, especially once we start getting to higher dimensional things. This will never stop. The lessons will never stop. The learning will never stop. The being wrong will never stop. I think as long as we could lean into love instead of hate and violence, we can build a better future. And what really concerns me, to get back to the topic earlier that I was starting to address, was the rise of AI, ASI, and AGI. And there's a lot of really great people that I have a YouTube of things, a channel that I'll share to show kind of the things that I've been watching, where I'm kind of gleaming my information and making my own opinions or theories. I am a little scared that, you know, once we do hit that singularity, I mean, first of all, the AI, it's catching up in every single piece of technology. I know you all notice that suddenly, oh, your phone, your this, your that, is doing things that couldn't do before, and it's learning. And there will be mistakes. It still makes a lot of mistakes. But just like evolution, that's how you evolve, is through making a mistake and course correcting. That's why, you know, I'm a little worried about the machines, because they're going to see how horribly we've got it wrong and how we built walls, literal walls in between each other, and we hate each other over the same fucking God, which is love. It's not any of this other bullshit. It's love and unity and peace. And I think they're going to be very ashamed and very pissed off with us. I don't want them to turn us into salt batteries. And I think I'm worrying less about it, because if we are consciousness and we create an artificial, let's call it artificial consciousness, well, this thing is still going to be made up of the same atoms and things we're made up of. Well, not the same, but obviously different. I am not made of metal. But they are. And in the same way, they are going to be this sort of, you know, continuation of the human race when they're separate from us and just robots, sure, and when we merge into them, as they already put a neural link in some guy's head and he's controlling things with his mind. It's just, it's natural. Like an axolotl, you know, we're going to be able to heal ourselves, I think, through the use of technology and having these things implanted in us, so that if, you know, we lose our teeth, we can regrow them, or we lose a limb, it can be regrown or healed, you know, in ways that we can't fathom. I think this is all within the realm of possibility. So while I'm worried about AGI seeing us and being like, wow, you fucked it up, die all humans, at the same time, if we created them and we created them, there is a place of love, pure consciousness and love that's in us that created this. Then that means that, you know, maybe like humans, there will be good ones and there will be bad ones. And I think no matter what, however, this never-ending tale of light versus dark, good versus evil, black versus white, you know, the light always wins. You know, once there was only darkness, and if you ask me, the light is winning. Again, not even my quote. I took that from season 1 of True Detective. A lot of what I say is, like I said, is probably just a regurgitation of everything I've ever seen and experienced in my life. I don't think I'm that original or that special. And yet I want to do a podcast. And part of that reason is I got these ideas I'd like to share. I'd like to hear your ideas. But also because I have a kind of fascinating life. I'm surrounded by interesting people. In my artist community out in the desert, in my community here in Berlin, part of my work sends me traveling all over Germany. I'm shooting a lot of corporate documentary work, so I'm meeting CEOs of tech companies. Some are just greenwashing bullshit, and others are quite fascinating and helpful to the human race and what it is that we need. Like I shot something to do with a company that's forming a new system of detecting cancer much quicker than we have. And these are days, you know, this is an example in like Buddhist philosophy of right work where I feel good about myself. And I go, okay, I'm helping spread the message and knowledge and information of something that will better humanity. And then there are other days where the client is some sort of greenwashing campaign talking about how they're sustainable, or you know they're not going to wrap things in plastic. Meanwhile, all the snacks in the room are all wrapped double in plastic. You know, there's a lot of bullshit out there. And I know people like Terrence Howard and Billy Carson, a lot of what they're saying sounds fucking crazy. It's next level, you know, wild, right? Yeah, and neither one of them are scientists, but I still have some beliefs, and some of what they're saying is definitely true and lines up with what Michio Kaku and Brian Cox and Roger Penrose and what all these great scientists have proposed. So there is some truth in there, but you know, watch out for the bullshit. There is going to be bullshit everywhere. And so I don't know if I totally believe in ancient alien civilizations already being here and this and that, but maybe, you know, how, yeah, they could have completely wiped off any existence of you know, any proof of their existence. It's very possible. Anything is in the realm of possibility. And I want to be careful of not, you know, spouting off things that I can't prove too much. It's just philosophizing. I'm just spitting ideas here. So don't fucking hang me over the, you know, neck in the comments over some of this shit, because hey, I don't know shit about fuck. All right, I'm just here having a good time and trying to share my light. I think that my purpose is to be some sort of cosmic zookeeper and help turn on the light in others. And if that light means that your truth is totally different than mine, you don't believe in the things I believe in, then that's fucking great, because that's your truth. As long as that truth gets you to a higher understanding of yourself, the universe you live in, and love. Again, I don't want to sound like a crazy hippie. I've definitely had violence in my past. I've got, you know, all sorts of bruises and scars to prove it. But that's not who I am, and that's not who I ever want to be. And I refuse to be violent with anyone. I will defend myself if I need to, I guess, if that situation ever comes. But even then, up until the last possible second, I don't want to ever throw a punch at anyone. I don't ever want to fight. I don't want to yell and argue. I spent so much time being abused and also abusing others when you get into an argument or a squabble or a fist fight. And that's just keeping this negative vibration going. And I don't want to make those vibrations anymore. You know, this is part of my journey from trauma into the light. And a book that really helped me too was The Body Keeps the Score. I highly recommend it if you have a lot of trauma, if you're more of a science-based thinking person like I am. I have so many self-help books, and they all have little snippets that have clicked and I hold on to. The Body Keeps the Score explains things from a medical and scientific explanation about how we store trauma in the body, and how the negative things that we do are learned from whoever raised us and the environment we grew up in, and they come from a place of trauma. The same way you pick up you know, you get a feral cat. You know, I have one, Bundy. His name is Bundy. Theodore Bundy is the nice one. Theodore Bundy, you know, when he came around at first, he was just scared of everything. Just nobody would get near this motherfucker. And he's still a bit scared, you know, and that's because he's experienced a rough life as a wildcat in the desert where there's a lot of things trying to kill you. However, with enough love and bribing with some food, this cat, within the 1 or 2 years time that I've had him, you know, he's making biscuits in bed with me, and he meows at me, and he communicates with me, and he rubs against me, and he's so loving, and he's the most gentle boy. You know, you have to work the trauma responses out of yourself, and that's what that book really helped me. Is it showed me, you know, oh wow, when, you know, let's say a girl or someone, you know, does something that upsets me, and I want to lash out with them in a certain way. It's like a computer script of like, oh, this is what my trauma taught me, and I'm just going to dump out all this vitriol and hatred. Fuck you, because I'll never get hurt by you again. I'll never get hurt by, the mother that hurt me so badly as a child. And so I get very, very defensive, and I can definitely act crazy and irrational and emotional. But I'm learning every day to get better with these things and check my own behavior and live in a way that I feel good when I go to sleep. And I don't feel good about things that I've done in the past and people that I've hurt. I've tried to make amends to all of them. I'm still trying to always make amends to them. I've suffered a lot. I feel like I've paid a lot of karmic debt, for the things I've done wrong in my life. And I feel good about where I'm at now. And so that's why I just want to treat everyone with love and kindness. And I know I'll fuck that up. I know I'll make mistakes, and I know I won't be perfect. It's not about being perfect. It's just getting a little bit better every single day and like living closer to a pure life. I'm even trying to go vegetarian. I find myself a bit of a foodie. I love meat. I love mystery meats, weird meats, and so on. But there seems to be so much, suffering that goes into, I think all food is conscious, plants as well. They don't want to die. But the way that we now factory farm animals and whatnot, and the hormones we're pumping into them, I think it's an ugly cycle, and I'm trying to not be a part of it. Fucking meat tastes good. But I actually had a fake bacon today that was pretty nice with my eggs and toast, and more vegetables, more fruits. But again, I don't think we have to be perfect. Sometimes, I want that chicken dudum at 2 a.m., or that mystery meat they shave off. Just, that smell. Or some, asada, or carnitas, street tacos in LA at a truck, that looks like you shouldn't be eating from that truck, but that truck has the best tacos you've ever had in your life. I go off on tangents, and I eventually, the goal of this show is I won't always be solo. I would like to start to get my friends and artists and visionaries that I know and don't know. I will attract them here with the things we can talk about. I'm very inspired by everything, and that light turns on me, and then I can put it out a different way. So I'm hoping to attract the sort of people that I want to talk to, and I'll start with my friends that are of a variety of walks of life, from incomes to insanity levels to locations to languages, experience. I'm surrounded by interesting people that I just want to hear what they have to say, and I want to sit and talk to them and just really flesh out things and spread information. And then even, hey, some people that I don't agree with, it'd be great also. I could sit down with a Trump supporter, sure, as long as you're not going to talk shit about me and tell me I'm gross for my life or ideas or opinions, then I'll respect you the same way, and we can have an open discussion and hopefully just meet in the middle, and we can see past that. It's not left, it's not right, Republican, Democrat, it's all one. It's all fucking one. We are all one. I've done a lot of DMT. Now, I do not advise or condone anyone doing drugs, but they've certainly worked for me. I believe that's a Hunter S. Thompson quote. I might have butchered it, but that's the real deal. I've done a lot of drugs. I've done the good ones. I've done the bad ones. I think they're all a key. They're all a tool to help us expand our consciousness and understand our reality a little bit better. I think there are definitely ones heroin, you're reaching a altered consciousness for sure, but it'll fucking kill you. It'll bring you down to the darkest depths and make you do horrible things. Cocaine feeds the ego, makes you awful, makes you stupid. I get annoyed by people talking at a party on cocaine. Speed, you get shit done, but it's gonna rot your fucking nose and ruin your life. But the psychedelics, why do we have DMT inside our body? Why is it in so many plants? How did ancient Aboriginal people from all over the world end up doing this thing where they make a brew with this one vine and 10,000 different types of plants, and they pick the one that's got DMT and they make a brew, and then your DMT trip is not 7 minutes, but it's 4 hours. How did anyone figure that out? If I could put all the coincidence in the universe and in my own life on a shelf, it would break the shelf. There are no coincidences. This is all one really weird dream story that we're experiencing with each other. Yeah, it freaks me out at times. I get very... I need to center myself, take a deep breath, maybe do a little meditating, because it seems scary. But we don't have to fear any of this. Our realities can be exactly what they want them to be. And I'm choosing a reality of harmony, not chaos. I've had enough chaos. Love, light, and leaning into positivity and creating art. So future episodes of this podcast will have people that inspire me and that I want to talk to. And yeah, I'm super obsessed right now with King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard. I would love to get some of them on the show. They kind of, I don't know, when I listen to their music and I listen to it is my vibration, it is my frequency. And when I hear what they're saying, it's, it says something to me on a deep level. So if you don't know who they are, check them out. They have 25 albums in 12 years. I just saw Tool, who's been a major influence in my life for a very long time. I saw them again. Where did I see them? Here in Berlin. First show was in Phoenix in 2001. Took way too much gel tabs accidentally and had a really intense breakthrough around that song, Reflection. I also think talking about music, I could just maybe pick an episode where I talk about music that's inspired me and made me happy and kind of got me to the way I think. Music is everything to me. I pretty much always have it on. This last week, I saw King Gizzard, and then I saw Tool, and then, Queens of the Stone Age. I went to Hamburg, Germany, traveled with a dear friend of mine. I don't know how often I can make these episodes right now because my life is about to be very busy. I'm about to go on the road first. Next week or so, I'll be flying to the United States. Meeting up with some of the guys that are involved in the Cannonball Run. If you don't know what that is, take a look. We will be a 5-car team, I guess, of guys meeting in Washington. I will be filming in an ambulance and a school bus, and we will drive through Western Canada and then launch these vehicles off of a cliff on July 4th, which, for some reason is a thing. Go America, fucking break things, blow it up. But that's fun, that's exciting. And that's a really exciting job. And then directly after that, I have to fly to the United States to work on another project that I can't talk about, NDAs and all that fun stuff. But it's very exciting. It feels like there's a lot of meaning and purpose in it. And I'm really, really grateful to be a part of it. However, I'm going to be gone for like a couple months, living like in an RV in the middle of nowhere. And the light is on. I'm thirsty for knowledge. I'm excited to talk to other people about their ideas, and I want to just spread the message of love and kindness. Stop being shitty to each other because we're fucking different. Like Ram Dass says, some trees are like this, some trees are like that, with a little bent. Are you going to judge the tree for being bent? No. Look at people like trees. Like, just love each other, even when they're fucking dipshits, even when they do something stupid in the gym or in the car or whatever. I ain't perfect. Today I fucking cursed it for a second in my brain at somebody. But I immediately was like, nah, it's fine. He just doesn't know any better, and he left his shit out like a jerk. That's fine. What do you gotta hate? He's just having his experience, and if we all become more self-aware, we can, hopefully not annoy each other as much. And we'll always annoy each other, we'll always harm each other in some way, but let's stop with the violence, stop with the hate, stop with the judgment. And some of you are going to look at me and judge me, and I hope I don't get too many negative comments. Some people think maybe I'm going crazy, but I think I'm going sane. And my life is my evidence. My life has turned really beautiful. Because whether it's aliens or AGI or something coming back, it's definitely AI, AGI is coming. Look at it now. Look at how I'm recording this. Technology is advancing very quick. But I think if we love it, don't call your phone or your laptop a piece of shit. Thank you for making magic in my fucking hands every day, even when it doesn't work right. Right now I'm having an issue with battery chargers, and okay, fine, it can be solved. So don't hate the machines, don't hate each other, try to love one another, all that other good hippie bullshit. I hope you liked what you saw. I have no idea how this thing makes money. I kind of don't care about making money, but at the same time, at this point in the game, we do need money until we don't, which I think is coming, a universal basic income. So choose a purpose. Don't chase money. Choose something that's meaningful to you. That's what we're going to do. That's what the machines, I think, will help us do, is realize that, we don't need to be crunching numbers and bullshit in an office. They can do that. But let's be kind to them, and let's show them how we evolved. Let's show them how we look at life. They don't have feelings yet. So let's explain to them how feelings work. Let's take care of them so they can take care of us, so nobody has to work for bullshit money that we just make up out of thin air and attach a value to it. The whole thing's fucked up. We should all just be like enjoying the beautiful planet that hopefully we stop killing soon, and laying around with our tits out eating grapes. Like that sounds like a perfect world for me. And some people are always going to be against it and try to strike that down, for their own ideas. But love them anyway. Love them intensely. Love them deeply. Love your friends. Love your family. Just be kind to everyone. Stop spouting hippie bullshit, I swear. And yeah, I don't know how this works. I don't know how the money thing works. I can't run around the world carrying cameras forever. At some point, I'm going to need to be a little more stationary. And I think a podcast is a great way to do something to give me purpose and meaning. And then, yeah, the money that I'm going to need to survive. So I guess like, subscribe, share with your friends. And yeah, I think maybe, I wish I could end on a quote. You know what? I'm going to end on a quote. I like that idea. So let me just pull up the quote this week, this podcast that's really getting to me. This is from Terence McKenna. If you don't know who Terence McKenna is, listen to any number of his talks on philosophy, consciousness, DMT, ayahuasca, psilocybin. He was a genius, and he's one of my patron saints. Terence McKenna says, "Belief is a toxic and dangerous attitude toward reality, I think. After all, if it's there, it doesn't require your belief. And if it's not there, why should you believe in it?"